Sorry for being late. Jai Gurudev. I'll just share the screen and start. May I begin? Om. 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 ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये ॐ श्रीकृष्ण परमात्मने नमः I just would like to read from Shloka 11th with all your kind permission. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha अशोच्यानन्वशोचस्त्वं प्रज्ञावादांश्च भाषसे गतासु न गतासुंश्च नानुशोचन्ति पंडिताः. The blessed Lord said, you have grieved for those that should not be grieved for, yet you speak words of wisdom. The wise grieve neither for the living nor for the dead. नत्वेवाहं जातु नासं न त्वं नेमे जनाधिपाः न चैव न भविष्यामः सर्वे वयमतः परम्. It is not that at any time in the past, indeed was I not, nor were you, nor these rulers of man, nor verily shall we ever cease to be hereafter. देहिनोऽस्मिन् यथा देहे कौमारं यौवनं जरा तथा देहान्तरप्राप्तिः धीरस्तत्र न मुह्यति. Just as
तथा देहान्तरः प्राप्तिः
तथा देहान्तरप्राप्तिः धीरस्तत्र न मुह्यति. Just as in this body the embodied soul passes into childhood, youth and old age, so also does he pass into another body. The firm man does not grieve at it. मात्रा स्पर्शास्तु कौन्तेय शीतोष्णसुखदुःखदाः आगमापायिनो नित्याः तां स्थितिक्षस्व भारत. आगमापायिनो नित्याः तां स्थितिक्षस्व भारत. It is Tan, Kshamyatam. Tan titikshasva Bharata. Should I read from this verse onwards, or I should repeat some? I think we have done 2 times, right? 2, 3 times. for the previous shloka. So I will just read one or two paragraphs from the previous shloka. Just as each of these states is taken for the Atma, another body can also be taken for the Atma, even though Atma itself remains the same. Just as how a person does not remember his or her first 3 years, in the same way, previous lifetimes in other bodies are also not remembered, which is just as well since there would only be that many more problems. If we all knew our own and each other's previous births, we would be blaming people from those lifetimes just as we do in this one. There would then be far too many situations and people to blame. Known or unknown, Atma is the same, be it with reference to the first 3 years of this birth or to the previous births. Thus, from the standpoint of Atma, there is no reason for sorrow born of self decimation. It is the same even from the standpoint of the simple jiva, the one who has a body. Where is the reason then for getting into a state of delusion that I will be absent at any time? The jiva will continue with or without a body. Without a body, there is no problem. I am Atma and therefore timeless. As a jiva, gaining a new body gives you a new and a better start. If you did not make proper use of the previous body, now you can make better use of the new one. The wise have no sorrow because a wise person has the knowledge of Atma and Anatma. There is no question of he or she being sorrowful. Such a person knows that what does not change cannot be changed, and what changes cannot be stopped. When the facts are clear, there is no sorrow. The wise person is one who knows what is real Atma and what is unreal Anatma. So further Krishna said, O son of Kunti, the contacts of the sense organs with the sensory world which give rise to cold and heat, pleasure and pain, which have the nature of coming and going, are not constant. Endure them, O descendant of Bharata. I repeat the meaning of the verse, O son of Kunti, the contacts of the sense organs with the sensory world, which give rise to cold and heat, pleasure and pain, which have the nature of coming and going, are not constant. Endure them, O descendant of Bharata. Given that the Atma never dies, that it always survives, as Krishna said, it seems that the sorrow caused by the death of a person is not reasonable and therefore not very legitimate. That there may be no sorrow for the person who knows the Atma to be eternal and the Anatma to be non eternal is also possible. However, in this life, sorrow does occur because of certain changes that take place. Situations do not go your way all the time. You do not call all the shots. Things keep changing, some of them favorably and many of them not so favorably. Some situations are pleasant, others unpleasant. That which is pleasant does not last, while the unpleasant seems to stick to me most of the time. There is therefore both pleasure, sukha, and pain, dukkha. The pleasant arrives and must pass away for the unpleasant to come. For instance, people begin to wail about winter long before it actually comes. As the summer ebbs away, they wail about that too. Even when summer is there, it is going. Thus, when winter is not there, it is coming. And when it is there, it seems not to be going at all. Half the summer is gone because of clouds, and another part of it is frittered away by rain. When it is hot, it is too hot. Because the seasons keep on changing, we find that sukha and dukkha keep on occurring. The pleasant has gone, and the unpleasant has come accompanied by sorrow. The sorrow is not due to Atma going and coming, but purely because of the situational context. This being the case, is there not a legitimate sorrow? I'm just reading a little faster because yesterday Brahmaraji very beautifully had explained all this, the difference between pain and the sorrow and the sukha. Krishna talked here about the nature of the sense organs and the sensory world. The sense organs, matras, contact sense objects. And these contacts, sparsha, give you the experience of cold, heat, pleasure, pain, etc. Sitoshna, shitoshna, sukha, dukkha, daha. The knowledge that something is cold or hot produces a response that this is pleasant, sukha, or that this is unpleasant, dukkha. Cold can be either pleasant or unpleasant, and so can anything hot. For instance, you do not go to the fireside on a hot day as you would when it is cold. Thus, heat is not always pleasant and cold is not always unpleasant. We find that there is a uniformity in our responses and also, to a certain extent, a universality. The world is one of opposites, heat and cold, for example, and these opposites give us pleasure and pain, sukha and dukkha. Categorically, we may say that certain situations make us happy, like a pleasant sunny day. At the same time, however, there are people who want rain so much that they are praying for it. Therefore, the rain that you do not want, someone else may be praying for. These then are our responses which seem to give rise to sukha and dukkha, all due to contact of the sense organs with their objects. One may argue that if contacting heat and cold gives rise to sorrow, perhaps we should avoid contact with sense or objects. But how can we? I repeat this last line. One may argue that if contacting heat and cold gives rise to sorrow, perhaps we should avoid contact with sense objects. But how can we? Krishna did not say we have to avoid the contacts. We need only understand them. Most of our problems are like this. They only need to be understood. What is to be understood here is that the tendency to come and go is the nature of opposites, heat and cold, pleasant and unpleasant, and so on. If you keep on saying it is hot, a time will come when the heat will be gone. It is the same with the cold. Therefore, they are not constant. They do not remain for you to complain about. Even if you want them to stay, they will not. They are always in a flux, constantly changing. And this nature of their being in constant flux does not change. We cannot totally remove ourselves from the opposites or remove them from us. This is not to say that one should not make an attempt to improve a situation. But if things must always be pleasant for you, Lord Krishna was making it very clear here that they would not be, because things are both pleasant and unpleasant. They are not always going to be as you want, nor are they always going to be unpleasant either. So Brahmaraji had very beautifully yesterday explained that it is the nature of the samsara, because it is to give sukha and dukkha. So we get pain, but suffering is optional. And it is our nature to expect that eternal happiness from the objects which are not eternal. And that causes the pain. And that, because we assume our thought process, it is our cognitive flaw that we superimpose that pain, suffering on the Atma and make it as I am happy or I am sad. But both, I mean, nothing is permanent. This situation also will pass, especially when it is unpleasant. That thought, that vichara is, that understanding should be there. Yeah, please, if it should we do Manana or I should read ahead, just let me know. If you want me to repeat, please let me know. I think this also very well it is explained by Brahmaraji yesterday, physical pain or sorrow. So I will read physical pain or sorrow. If death is said to be incapable of causing you sorrow, where does that leave all of the other situations that seem to make you unhappy? The world can cause you some physical pain because the physical body belongs to the physical world. One physical entity can therefore hurt another. Arjuna's problem is not physical, it is purely sorrow, shoka. And shoka is a type of thinking. While physical pain is something to be endured and cured, sorrow is something you build on. I repeat this last sentence. While physical pain is something to be endured and cured, sorrow is something you build on. Physical pain is not something that is totally avoidable. The body is subject to pain and will be affected by one force or the other, the sun, rain, winter, and so on. You can protect the body to the extent possible, but because it is anitya, constantly changing, it is subject to pain. This is the nature of the body. Sorrow, on the other hand, is something you build onto the pain because of a particular way of thinking. This is exactly where we have to change cognitively. Therefore, Krishna said, take every situation as it comes, Arjuna, cheerfully in your stride with a sense of humor. Krishna later told Arjuna how these opposites cannot really do anything to you because by nature they have no independent existence apart from yourself, the Atma. There is some kind of lumping that occurs due to a confusion between orders of reality. The mind, senses, and body have similar realities, whereas the Atma is of another order of reality. When you say you are sad, you involve the Atma, I, in the sadness as though the Atma belongs to the same order of reality as the mind, which it does not. In this way, the Atma is taken to be the Anatma and it becomes one among the many. Because the Anatmas in the world are too many and so varied, you cannot cope with them all. Even though they are all Anatma, even the small bugs create so many problems, let alone the more powerful forces. If the Atma is really one among the many, nothing can be done. However, the vision is that the Atma is unlike any of them. Sorrow is not possible without Atma, I. Every time there is sorrow, it is because Atma is somehow involved. Mere mind with its processes cannot create sorrow. Therefore, ignorance is the cause for imputing sorrow to Atma. I think this all was done by Brahmaraji, right? Yesterday. I'm really sorry. I should have started from verse 15. Can someone guide me? Um, I don't know, but the repetition is like Swami Dayanand Saraswati ji. Once his one of the disciples, he was not well and he was absent for some longer time, and he came back to the class and asked, Swamiji, please, sorry, I missed. So Swamiji said, don't worry. That time also we were talking about Atma, and just now also it is Atma. So I think the same thing has happened. We have, we will be talking about Atma and Anatma. So that, so that our thought process remains the same. We can have better view, better thought. I hope. So should I read a little further faster with your kind permission? Or you want me to stop for Manana?
You can go ahead, Bilaji.
Okay, धन्यवाद.
Absolutely fine. Thank you.
Yeah. What is there to worry about? The coming and going of the opposites is a fact. Thus, when Krishna told Arjuna, endure them, titikshava, he was not offering advice, he was being objective. What is the need for this objectivity? Because situations are constantly changing, the pleasant as well as the unpleasant. To think that only the pleasant ones change and not the unpleasant is not correct. What then is there to worry about? For a person who is objective, who has a certain appreciation for what the world and its situations are all about, there is no reason for sorrow. There are just situations to face and act upon, whether inner or outer. There is nothing to be sad about. So, it is the nature of the world that it will be always changing, it will be always in flux. So, it is always changing, and we cannot expect that the situations remain same. So, when we complain about the change, it is foolishness on our part. So, we have to take it as it is. And how beautifully our Gurudev has put that in one of the sutras, present moment. We have to remain in that present moment rather than lingering to the past and worrying or anxious, being anxious about the future, and accepting the situation as it is without complaining or without making fuss about it, because that will also pass, whether good or bad, pleasant or unpleasant. Anyone would like to share? Nanaji had also beautifully oriented us about this verse, 14th verse. So we have to remember, once again, I'll just read the shloka. Matra sparshastu kaunteya shitoshna sukha dukkhadah agama nityah tam stitikshasva bharata. The contacts of senses with objects, O son of Kunti, which cause heat and cold, pleasure and pain, have a beginning and an end. They are impermanent. Endure them bravely, O descendant of Bharata. So pain is inevitable, suffering is optional.
Jai Gurudev. So, um, yeah, repetition is fine, Bela, not to worry. Because this knowledge, no matter how many times we repeat, um, I mean, each time we repeat, there is a deeper understanding.
True, Brahmaraji.
So,
Yeah.
so what do we normally do? What does a normal person do? Here, Krishna is asking us to endure them bravely. But when a normal person contacts the sense objects are contacted by the sense organs, what happens? We end up either one of two things. One, we start craving for something that is pleasant, thinking that we want to eternalize that, or we are averse to something that is unpleasant and we want to avoid that. These are the two states, mental states, that we can land up in when our sense organs contact the sense objects. For example, if we've eaten one gulab jamun, and you like the taste, the sense organ, the tongue taste buds have contacted the sense object, the gulab jamun, and the signals go to the brain saying, oh, it is very nice. So then we want another one and another one, not knowing that we think that every gulab jamun that we eat is going to give us pleasure. But then the fact is, it is agama payino anitya. This is not permanent. It has its own time. It it fades away. That pleasure fades away. And that's exactly what happens when you eat the fourth or the fifth gulab jamun. The very gulab jamun in the first gave you so much of pleasure. It starts giving you pain. You start getting averse to it. You can't eat anymore. You start feeling nauseous. So again, this is pointing out to the fact that anything that has a birth will have a death. So the pain, the pleasure here, the birth of the pleasure with the first gulab jamun actually dies towards the fourth or the fifth gulab jamun because it starts giving you nausea. So this we can extrapolate to any other sense organ. So just being aware and that those golden words, endure them bravely, is what we need to keep bringing to our awareness when we indulge in the sense organs, sense objects.
Timely attachment and detachment with
Mm,
awareness is very important.
very.
Not uh, just reeling into that uh, for a long period of time.
Mm.
That is the trick, actually. Skill we need to develop more and more.
It is the nature of the
So,
sense organs to move towards the sense objects. Manaha moves outside, outwardly. Whereas time and again, bringing it back again and again, namaha, towards the self, which is the practice of pratyahara. So you're feeding your senses from within.
Say,
all five senses, they need to operate in the world because we feel hungry, we had to eat. But that awareness continuously is essential, I think, because we have the eyes, we cannot keep it closed through and through. God has given the eyes, God has given the Vani, so all these things, faculties need to be used in the world.
sorry, I
But
was disconnected.
100% you need to.
Yeah, I was disconnected. Did you hear me saying something, or I was
No,
disconnected?
no, we didn't hear you. Were you saying
Ah,
something? Yeah, Kiyo, you can
uh,
repeat what you said.
yeah. I was just saying that if something gives us pain, we want to avoid those situations or the contact of sense organs with the sense objects. Swamiji said, no need to avoid it, but to be aware of it. Did he say something else also along with that?
What Krishna said was, what Swamiji mentioned there was, um, take it, face it cheerfully with humor, endure it bravely. Is this what you're looking for?
He said, I mean, you tend to avoid, the contact of sense
Mm.
objects with the sensory organs. You avoid. There is no need. You can be aware of these things. This is
Yeah,
what he said, I believe.
actually,
Yeah.
yeah, I think so. Bela, can you just read that part where he says, does this mean we should avoid contact with the sense objects? Maybe that's what
Yeah, that's
needs
what
a
I,
repetition.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Um, Here, no, it was, yeah, Krishna, this one, this paragraph, Krishna did not say we have to avoid the context. Yeah, Krishna, okay, I will read from the previous line as well. Yeah. Krishna talked here about the nature of the sense organs and the sensory world. The sense organs, matras, contact sense objects. And these contacts, sparsha, give you the experience of cold, heat, pleasure, pain, etc. Shitoshna, sukha, dukkha, daha. The knowledge that something is cold or hot produces a response that this is pleasant, sukha, or that this is unpleasant, dukkha. Cold can be either pleasant or unpleasant, and so can anything hot. For instance, you do not go to the fireside on a hot day as you would when it is cold. Thus, heat is not always pleasant, and cold is not always unpleasant. We find that there is a uniformity in our responses and also to a certain extent a universality. The world is one of opposites, heat and cold, for example, and these opposites give us pleasure and pain, sukha and dukkha. Categorically, we may say that certain situations make us happy, like a pleasant sunny day. At the same time, however, there are people who want rain so much that they are praying for it. Therefore, the rain that you do not want, someone else may be praying for. These then are our responses, which seem to give rise to sukha and dukkha, all due to a contact of the sense organs with their objects. One may argue that if contacting heat and cold gives rise to sorrow, perhaps we should avoid contact with sense objects. But how can we? Krishna did not say we have to avoid the contacts. We need only understand them. Most of our problems are like this. They only need to be understood. What is to be understood here is that the tendency to come and go is the nature of opposites, heat and cold, pleasant and unpleasant, and so on. If you keep on saying it is hot, a time will come when the heat will be gone. It is the same with the cold. Therefore, they are not constant. They do not remain for you to complain about. Even if you want them to stay, they will not. They are always in a flux, constantly changing. And this nature of their being in constant flux does not change. We cannot totally remove ourselves from the opposites or remove them from us. This is not to say that one should not make an attempt to improve a situation. But if things must always be pleasant for you, Lord Krishna was making it very clear here that they would not be, because things are both pleasant and unpleasant. They are not always going to be as you want, nor are they always going to be unpleasant either.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, so beautifully, Krishna is layer by layer removing the ignorance.
It is real skill, no? To we
Yes.
need to operate in the world for anything and everything through only five senses. But
Mm.
enjoying or feeling the sorrow uh, due to the contact in the world, we need to develop that vairagya. It's a double-edged sword kind of thing. You
Mm.
cannot keep all your five senses shut throughout, because in the world, throughout the day, you are working. these are only the tools for us to interact in the world. But at the same time, be aware of this pleasure and pain, which is continuously changing. So don't just get lost into it. But at the same time, whatever you are doing, do it 100%. See, from all the sides, you are getting tappad from this side, that side, that side. And just be aware in the moment fully. Jai Gurudev.
Yeah, and I think understanding it itself will bring the vairagya. It's a byproduct. You don't have to do anything else. Just understand this whole process. So automatically you'll go into vairagya. You don't have to do anything else, I feel.
Right, 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 right.
But also it says that it's not going to be it's going, going to be there all the time, unpleasant or the pleasant. It keeps it keep changing. So this will pass. Whatever that we are feeling or unpleasant state, it will pass. Hoping for that. It shouldn't be lasting forever.
But in order for us not to hang on to things that are pleasant and start craving for them, and in anticipation of the unpleasant changing into pleasant, what Krishna tells again in the end is endure them, go through it. If there is pain, go through the pain. Not getting sorrow, no, not becoming sad because of the pain, but endure the pain. If there is a tough situation going on in your life, rather than, of course, it does not mean you should not do anything to improve the situation. We are not talking about passive acceptance. You accept it, go through it, and see what you can do out of responsibility. But don't start complaining. The moment you start complaining, you are ending up being sad because you're directing all that to that. You're superimposing it on the I. Just be a witness to all that is happening. But active participation, as in you take responsibility to change a situation in case it requires. And even then, even after you put in your best efforts, if the situation continues to be the same, smile through it. Why? Because of this understanding that that situation will not remain the same forever. We normally eternalize all our woes, all our difficulties. That is in a constant mode of change. So that will also change. I mean, this is such an important verse for us to remember, memorize, so that it keeps coming back to us when in need.
Very true. Absolutely. We have to by heart this matra sparshastu kaunte and that Bhagavan's first ashochan and vashochastu. In fact, the whole Bhagavad Gita, the whole second chapter especially.
So a small example was I was not into so much of reels and all that on Instagram. Okay, but recently, after we finished a VTP, we've decided in order to spread and create awareness of art of living, we need to do some reels, things like that. So I've been actually going through the reels on Instagram. Now, on the reels, it's not just knowledge reels that you get all kinds of reels. We have Rinal here who's, very beautiful. If you've not been following her, please do. She posts such beautiful reels about different recipes, garden fresh recipes. You should do that. You should learn very inspiring reels. But there are also other reels about movie stars, about this and that. So realized my mind was going towards, of course, I was reading knowledge, I was looking through the other reels, but it was also gravitating towards the celebrities and all that. And then I was wondering, and it went on for some time, and then suddenly realized, I said, what am I doing? How easy it is for the mind to get carried away. So, what requires again is just understanding, just questioning ourselves, why am I here? Not that you should not enjoy, not that you should not give yourself entertainment, as long as you're aware of it. I think that awareness, understanding is the key, because ultimately, that fundamental problem is of ignorance. The moment that knowledge comes, that awareness dawns, then you're at that moment free from it. Otherwise, if you just let it be, subconsciously, it can become such a habit. And your muscle memory will constantly keep going and doing that. And then you don't realize how much of time you have spent on that. That time you could have done more, better things. You could have utilized the time in a better way.
And it is a very draining. We don't realize how much energy gets drained,
Yeah.
brain gets fogged, and
Mm.
whatnot. And it's not going to take you to anywhere actually. Nothing. It's really so much load on the whole nervous system and your brain and all kinds of impressions. And still, suddenly, we don't know when we get caught up into all that political reels and all the slowly how you get soaked into it, like went to the beach and just entered one leg inside and slowly completely swayed away, kind of. Thank you so
And
much.
time waste. Uh,
Yeah, and social
Turning
media is
energy.
so very tricky, that supposing you're looking at some reel and it will keep posting the same topic again and again. So it is as though inviting you. So your cravings are being empowered, so to say. Your likes are being empowered. So again and again, withdrawing yourself from being aware and coming back, I think would be the key.
Yeah.
That's a challenge that we all have. And I'm only, of course, I'm concerned. We all work on ourselves, but concern is also about the youngsters, about the youth, about little kids who are into just watching YouTube, TikTok videos all the time. So unless we make a change, like how Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, before telling that little boy to stop eating sweets, he took 10 days time off. He says, come back after 10 days. Because in those 10 days, he worked on himself. He said, I should stop eating before I tell others. So it's very easy for us to give advice, but we have to first change ourselves, be the change you want to see. So change, work within. In fact, this whole life is a lone journey. We have co-passengers along with us, like we are all co-sadhaks, but ultimately it's an individual journey. So work on ourselves first, become a role model before we um, look at others and see how to change the others.
Yeah, this social media has been working so hard themselves to give what you want, so जैसे बोलते हैं ना, जैसा अन्न वैसा मन. So in the same go we can say जैसा reel वैसा feel.
Yeah, Renal is very poetic.
Yeah.
She's got that. She's got that that yeah, that talent. Very true.
Watching is also not a problem, but the problem, as Swamiji so beautifully said, that we change our thought process looking at them. I mean, it's really absolutely mind blowing how swiftly they enter our mind and they impact.
But I think if you're on this path, if you're meditating, you get to know what is truth and what is not, what is a false story or not, what is something that will start pinching you if you start watching. As Brahmaraji said, it's very
Mhm.
addictive. But then you have that pinch, right? Just maybe you might do it one day and then you get to your centered. But others who are not on the path, they just get drowned.
Yes, as Brahmaraji rightly said, for kids especially. Mhm. It influences a lot on their innocent minds.
So even in our uh, busy day, in all our days, taking small, brief pauses, 5, 10 minute pauses, and going within, I think will not just rejuvenate our mind and system. Otherwise, it's constantly from one object to another, one thing to another. It's going on and on and on. And that's actually very draining. The sympathetic system is on an overdrive. So, time and again, in between taking those little breaks, coming back to the center, will balance this by bringing up the vagus activity, parasympathetic activity. And like someone said, after you've had a long day at work, you cannot carry the same sympathetic overdrive at home. You'll have to switch, which is why this meditation twice a day is so important. Otherwise, we'll be in that same mode of overdrive, and then that would be the reason why we have skirmishes with people at home. It's all about resting the mind, letting it go out, coming back to the center again and again. And basically, if we just follow Krishna, he says, whatever you do, you keep me, offer it to me. So that's such a beautiful aspect of Karma Yoga. So that itself keeps us centered. So if you're able to follow that 100%, I think we would have all made it.
As you said, with taking pause after a few hours or so, I think it is followed in some organizations. I think it is Brahma Kumaris or at Sadhgurus. They will ring the bell and everybody stops for a few minutes or so. I'm not very sure. But then they'll keep giving that bell, and then everybody stands still and then they introspect or whatever, and again they'll start working. That pause is given, and at that organization, at the ashrams, they do that. I'm not sure which one, but somewhere they do.
Yeah, hourly we can do something like every 1 hour. If your mobile gives some beep, just suddenly for few seconds or 1 minute, get cut off from everything, and then again start your routine. That will
Actually,
help a
it's
lot.
the 20-20-20 rule. For every 20 minutes of screen, for 20 seconds, you'll have to look away at 20 feet. And then if you've been sitting for 20 minutes at a stretch, you're supposed to get up and walk for a while and then come back to sitting. So this is the 20-20-20 rule. I think we're time. We'll need to stop here maybe. We can continue tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah.
These practical tips are so useful actually, no? For our own.
Very nice, very beautiful. ॐ सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरिः ॐ तत्सत् श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ सर्वं श्रीकृष्णार्पणमस्तु
चलो विल डू ए शॉर्ट मेडिटेशन. सब लोग आराम से बैठ जाइए. एवरीवन सिट कंफर्टेबली इजली. रीढ़ की हड्डी सीधा रखे. लेट्स कीप आवर स्पाइन इरेक्ट. Let's take our attention to the top of the head. And become aware of the vast sky above the head. सिर के ऊपर विशाल गगन है. उस गगन से तरंग हमारे सिर पर पड़ रही है इस वक्त. इसका स्मरण करें. Become aware of the vast space and cosmic rays from the universe falling on your head right this moment. मुस्कुराते मुस्कुराते सारे तरंगों को अपने भीतर स्वीकार करें. With a smile, receive all the vibrations, cosmic vibrations, into your body. Vedic chantings are happening. All other sounds are there. Just welcome them all. मंत्र घोष भी चल रहे कहीं दूर. पूरे वातावरण में पवित्र तरंग उठ रहे हैं. इन सब को आप स्वीकार करें अपने भीतर. Let's also chant Om. हम भी 3 बार ओंकार का ध्वनि करते हैं. गहरी सांस लीजिए. ओ रिलैक्स योर होल बॉडी, पूरे शरीर को ढीला छोड़ दें. Let every cell in our body start to relax, expand, and smile. ओम शांति शांति शांति. और धीरे धीरे आंखें खोल सकते हो. Slowly and gradually you may open your eyes.
Therapy is extremely uncomfortable.